You know, and the fun part for me has been, I'll never forget the first time I saw the game. So it's like, I was working part-time in an arcade in 1981 while I was going to college, and I loved games. I've always loved games. It was fun. We were playing, you know, Star Castle and lots of shoot 'em games. And the first time I saw the game wasn't in our arcade. It was in a competitor's. And I was looking at somebody else's location, and we saw this game, and I was like, what the heck is that? I mean, because nobody expected this weird game with the maze and the thing eating. I wasn't shooting anything. It was so bizarre. But there were lines of people trying to get to it. And it was like, I called my man. I remember vividly calling my manager going, oh my God, I don't know what this game is, but you've got to see this thing. People are crawling all over it. And at that point, it was really exploding in the early 1981. It was really kind of just taking off at that point. So that was amazing, and I've spent my whole life hanging around Pac-Man since then. So it's Iwatani-san changed my life.
Yeah, it was the first game that you weren't shooting something. You know, you're, and you know, some people have said it's the first horror survival game as well, because you are running from ghosts and you have very limited resources.
Yeah, and I have some other theories about, I mean, because people ask all the time, why is it so good? Why has it lasted so long? So to me, I mean, one of the things that I kind of think in my mind is like, it was really an early simulation of a multiplayer environment. I mean, each ghost had his own personality, and so you were playing against 4 distinct personalities. And to me, it was like basically a game changer. It was changing the way, before I was a tank shooting another tank, or you know, it was depersonalized, but Pac-Man suddenly was almost humanized, and they all had a personality, so it was kind of fun.
Yeah, because each one of the ghosts have like their own way that they sort of handle you or mishandle you, if you will. And like other games, you were just kind of dodging patterns of villains and stuff like this. This was one that Blinky really just comes after you, and you can get kind of upset with that red ghost keep coming at you.
Billy, how did you get into playing Pac-Man? I mean, really. I mean, it was an unusual game at the time. It was. How did you decide you wanted to be good at Pac-Man?
Well, at the time when video games took off, I played pinball, a lot of pinball, and I would say that I'm as good at pinball then as I am, or eventually became, at games. But all the attention and all the competition was at video games. And I mean, I didn't play games that were obscure. They didn't have competition. So I mean, Pac-Man was a game that I chose because I wanted that competition. That is surely not my most memorable moment. And I'm actually going to speak slow because I want the professor to hear this, probably hearing this for the first time. It's not getting the perfect score. That was not the most memorable moment. After that, the media explosion that was created, they came from all over the world, and people who flew in just to do interviews to me. I knew the phone was going to ring from NAMCO. I knew it, and soon enough, one day it rang, and that was the initial contact. And to make a long story short, eventually, again, just as him, the most memorable moment goes back to Masaya Nakamura. He flew me to Japan on a first-class ticket. There at the Tokyo Game Show, I had many world records in addition to Pac-Man, in addition to the perfect game. He crowned me the video game player of the century at the Tokyo Game Show. And even that's not the most memorable moment. I was at the NAMCO headquarters the day before that, and I was in a room and I'm waiting for him to come in, and I was there simply with his assistant, Mr. Icky. Yeah, and he speaks English better than me, so I was happy.
More grammatically correct, anyway.
Yeah. So what happened was, he came in the room and there was 9 people with him, and they were described as his inner circle of developers,